Okay, I'd like to talk just a bit about what I'm doing, but also how it might be something you could do or not, and I'll show you a few things that make it easier. So this is what you might call glamping, glorified camping, but it's permanent, so like perma-glamping. I'm permanently positioned here and I'm camped. So it is a camp. Literally, I've created a camp. Camp Dad, in my case. Now, a lot of counties, most counties in the United States, do not look kindly upon that. Now, you'll have to check with your county anonymously and find out what the rules and regulations and laws might be. What I'm doing here is I'm building. So my excuse for being here is I'm building. If it were Alaska, I could pretty much claim, from what I understand, I could claim land and just build on it as long as it followed certain rules. That's truly homesteading, and that's how homesteading has been in our nation ever since governments own land. I might be what you call a 1776er, all right? I believe in the founding of this nation and what it was intended to be. I don't mind a few rules here and there, but even in my own county, which is a real laid-back county that doesn't really require much. They're not Nazis. They know you personally. It's a very small town, so to speak. Even here, they've got to follow Georgia regulations because that's the state I'm in. And even then, they add a few, not regulations, but laws. They add a few laws to that. So that at minimum, they're following that. And like all counties, they got to add their little touch to it. So I've checked with my county to know what I can and cannot get away with. This is something you need to have a feel for. You talk to the people, understand the environment, how bureaucratical it is, how personal it is, how likely they are to hunt you down like Nazis if you're in like upper state New York or something like that. I don't know. So here I am permitted to do what I'm doing. This is a camp, but I'm building. I have a build permit. Now, as a 1776er, I don't believe that government should have any say-so in what you do, unless I'm a vagrant of some kind that needs to be removed. But if I own the land, which I outright do, in my mind, I kind of believe, and you can disagree if you want, I'm not going to argue with you, that's fine. Everybody has a different perspective. I kind of believe that as the outright owner, deed holder of this land, that I should be able to do what I want to do. I mean, that only makes sense, right? It's getting a little warm. So that only makes sense, right? We don't need to argue over that. I mean, if it's yours, it's yours. If somebody else, some other authority can take it away from you, it's really not yours. So let's think about that. I have to pay tax. There are minimal taxes on this land. Let's just say I don't pay them next year. Minimal as they are, in the hundreds, really. They can take my land. Well, so do I own it, or do they own it? See what I'm saying? Who's the authority? The final authority owns it. So that's where I call myself kind of a 1776er. I don't believe government should have that much power over your property, your life, your actions. I do believe in laws, of course. I'm not an anarchist. Don't think I'm an anarchist. Laws matter. I'm a Republican. That means I believe in a republic. We do not have a democracy. We have a republic. Now, I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to dive into controversy. If you want to disagree, you go ahead. I might correct you if you are incorrect, but I'm not going to argue with you. Nobody here is going to do that. All right, so now on to things. This was on my mind today because I know that what I'm building here needs to be permitted. It's above 100 square feet. I'm supposed to permit it. I mean, $100, but if they permit it and then have say-so over it, I don't want it. Now, a permit is one of those things where the county is not usually, any county really, is not going to go hunting you down and checking you out to see what you're doing. That's just against the Fourth Amendment. They can't do that. It's illegal search and seizure. They just can't do it, and they know it. So they don't. Besides, they don't have time or resources. Unless a neighbor calls and says, you know, so-and-so is doing something over there that I don't like. And they come check it out. So have good neighbors. But what I'm getting at is permitting is a thing that you do if you wish to resell. Really, you can, in your own backyard, it doesn't have to be acreage. In your own backyard, you can pretty much build anything. Studio, a mother-in-law unit, a shed. You can put a foundation down if you want, or you can raise it up with a crawl space, whatever you want to do. As long as it follows your stupid HOA, which I had once and I'll never do again. You can build anything you want, and no one's just going to come check you out. That's just the truth. But on resale, anything you built in your house, add-ons, whatever, if it required a permit, you cannot include that in your resale value. Get it? Now, every time you add something to your property, that increases your tax requirement. This is just another reason why I just disagree with how this works. It's just a money-making scheme. It's not intended to do anything for anyone, these types of permits. Now, I will permit as required. I'm just going to say that out loud so that you guys understand. And I'm not advising that you break the law. I'm advising that you research your county and know what you can do and what you cannot do, what you can get away with and what you cannot get away with. What are your limits? Ask lots of questions. Bug them. Make sure that they know your voice because you've asked so many questions. And that's the only way you're going to get answers. Write lots of questions down. Ask them. Understand what it is you're getting into. We have been doing this 3 months now. Right at 3 months. Going on it in another week. And we've made a lot of progress. And the ultimate objective, and I'm permitted to build here. Bear in mind, I've said that. Okay, I am permitted to build here. The ultimate objective is to build the main structure. Anything else that I build has got to, if I don't want to permit it, has to be 100 square feet or less. And I can't have DIY septic here in Georgia. It's not legal. Things like that. So I know my limits. I advise you do the same thing. Don't just go nilly-willy start doing stuff and then find out later on that you broke some major law. All right, that's what I'm suggesting. I encourage you to do that, but I also encourage you to bear in mind that we should never have let this happen. Not we, you and me, but we as a nation should never have let this happen so that it gets to this point. Know what I'm saying? There's just no reason to have so many laws. So in the future, I want our generation, the next generation, the generation after that, to find some way to peel back some of this authoritarianism that has creeped into our nation, and bring us back to a time when there was true freedom. Because if you don't actually own what you own, you do not have freedom. If there's a higher authority than you regarding what you do or what you own, you do not have freedom. You only have what you're permitted to do. You have permission. You don't have freedom. There is a vast difference. We in this nation have come to accept just having permission. That's not good enough. All I'm suggesting is that we join the ranks. We get in the fight by being in the system. Run for office, work in your local county offices as just an administrator of some kind. Become a tax authority in a small town. Be integrated in the system. People who want to be free must be in charge. Not people who are egoists, not people who just want change for change's sake, not just people who want to employ rules for rules' sake, not people who want to be in charge just for the sake of being in charge because it makes them feel good about themselves. We need people who are self-secure, independent, love this nation, and want to be free. Those are the ones that need to be in charge. And I'm highly recommending that you, if you see something in your county that needs to be changed, go, not just run for office or choose to work in an office, but petition. Whatever you got to do to make change. We're not going to make change sitting on our duff. I don't want my grandkids to live, or my great-grandkids to live, in a nation that is more and more restrictive. I want them to live in a nation that is less restrictive. And the only way to do that is to be the change. That's my sermon for the day, and I hope you see how it's all tied together, because it does affect how you operate. All right, thank you for your patience, and I'm going to show you just a few things to do to help you along here. Start with the kitchen. In here, this is a zip cooler. In here are dried foods. Very simple. Now, here's a tip. Mayonnaise does not need to be refrigerated, period. I don't care what you were taught, it doesn't. These don't need refrigeration. Jelly, particularly, does not need jam. Is made to be a preservative. That's what it is. Lots of things don't need refrigeration. As a matter of fact, over in this cooler, which doesn't have ice in it, I have fruit. I have pears and apples and bananas, and they stay healthy for days and days and days. I hang any garbage for a day that requires to be off the ground because it might attract ants. And you don't want to put too much in there for too long because animals will find their way in here. They'll just be really curious. Eggs. Get fresh farm eggs from a local dealer that have not been washed. If they have not been washed, they do not require refrigeration. They can just sit there. In my ice chest here, now of course it depends on what time of the year it is. I just have basic stuff and it's all crammed in there. And that requires, you know, a bag of ice every other day. I have stuff in here that does not require refrigeration, but it's closed. Now, that is the part of the kitchen. You'll want one of these if you can get it. They're $100 maybe, something like that. And you definitely want a gas stove. I've got a line that goes all the way back to here. That thing lasts forever. I am still, months of using it, still there. All right, and as you can see, it's just a disaster. I mean, I live here by myself, but this is storage, okay? Non-food storage. Remember, you have to put stuff in the garbage that doesn't smell. The only thing that's in here is stuff that's closed, plastics and stuff like that, all right? On to other things. The number one thing in storing anything is to keep it off the ground. Always keep cool things that you find, like this thing out of the dark crystal. Have somewhere to dry your clothes. You will need a generator, if you can, a backup generator, and a solar generator system. All right. And of course, solar panels. This is an outdoor shower. If you've never seen one, of course I put together a platform here because I don't like to come out onto and step out onto the dirt. And I've got a pallet in there. That's all it is. It's a little hook up there. If you've got something long enough, I put my nozzle there. That's it. You will need rainwater collection of some kind. If you've watched my videos, you've seen early on how I collect these. But it's just a bucket that runs from down to here. And you can see I added another connector in order to make that happen on both sides of the tent. Also, I collect rainwater in a four-wheeled wheelbarrow. That works well too. But that water is not intended for drinking. That water is intended for cleaning things and scrubbing and knocking dirt off your shoes if you need to do that. And you do need to clean the insides of those barrels. I'm going to be pressure washing one of them as soon as it's emptied. You'll also need fresh water. Now that's water from a well faucet, which is fairly clean, but you still want to filter it using various filtration systems. Like I said, I'll always keep cool things. They're gonna be around for a while. I had one that I did the other day and somebody put it in a pit. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, okay, so I hope this helps somebody. If you have any questions, or you want to know how something else is achieved, go ahead and leave a comment. I'll answer you. But a lot of people think I'm crazy for doing this, but I don't. I'm not. But I'm doing what is necessary. And frankly, I'm enjoying it, every minute of it. Every minute of this is fun to me. Might not be fun to you, so that's just, you know, different strokes for different folks, I guess. But if it's something you want to do, it's certainly something you can do. And it's just a matter of learning what needs to be done. Now, again, I hope this helps somebody, and I hope you like my channel. Please hit like and subscribe to me and share it. I'd like this information to get out. All right, y'all have a good day.